All right, so this is the problem we'll be looking at first, is this one here. Guys, again, Chromebooks either shut or not in front of you. Thank you. So when we look at this here, again, our first step is to eliminate a variable out of all three of these. And we've just got to pick, is it X, Y, or Z? Now looking at this here, what's going to be the easiest one to pick? Because all the values, the numbers in front of Y are the same, aren't they? If it works out that we have like 2Y, 2Y, and 2Y, that's great. I'm going to use that. Because I'm not having to pick one of these equations and having to multiply by anything like we did yesterday with a few of them. We're not having to manipulate any of these equations. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to pick an eliminator equation, one we're going to use to eliminate the first variable out. I'll just pick the top one. It really doesn't matter which one we use for this one here, since we have 2y, 2y, and 2y. Since they're all the same, and we just need to pick one that we're going to use. Which means our other two are going to be the ones we're going to be using. So 3x plus 2y minus z equals 7. And then we have negative x plus 2y plus 4z equals negative 9. And again, our eliminator equation is the top one, so we're using it to eliminate y out of both equations. And since we don't have to do anything to change it, we'll just go on and write it under both of them. We'll go on and write it under both of them. Now looking at, so you probably need to pause here for a second. Are we good at this? Everybody's gotten this step written down before we move on? Now we look at this one on the left over here. The values of y, or the signs in front of y, one is positive and one is negative. So if the signs are opposite, we do what? Add. We add the two equations together. So we're going to add these two equations together. And when we do that, x plus 3x is 4x. 3 plus 1 would give us 4. 2 plus negative 2, well, that is 0. Negative z plus z, well, hey, that is 0 also, isn't it? Equals 7 plus negative 11. Can't we just solve this for x? Let's do that. I'm going to pause on this. Let's go on and solve this for x. So what I need to do, I need to just divide both sides by 4. You don't have to do this. I'm going to do this just so we can kind of see it. So we have 4x equals negative 4. We're dividing both sides by 4, getting x is equal to negative 1. I'm going to write this on the whiteboard so I can keep track of it up here just in case I erase it. But hey, we have one of the three already, don't we? So sometimes it'll work out nicely, nice like that. It'll work out that way. So let's go over here and see what happens on this side. So here, the signs in front of y are opposite, so we would add again. So negative x plus x is 0. It worked out. 2y plus negative 2y is also 0. 4z plus z is 5z equals negative 9 plus negative 11 is negative 20. Well, this worked out nicely, didn't it? Because we did one overall step, 2 steps if you want to break those apart. Now, we can solve for z by dividing both sides by 5. and z equals negative. Okay. A laser? I don't know what that is, but that's not a 4. There we go. Now we have a 4. Negative 4. How many variables do we still not know the value of? 1, yes? So I'm going to erase all this here. Because again, so we know that x equals negative 1 and z is equal to negative 4. Which one of these equations do we want to use to find the value of y? Does it matter? The middle one? Okay. So we'll do 3 times negative 1 plus 2y minus negative 4 equals 7. Now, if you've had my class before, you notice anytime I plug numbers in, I always put parentheses around it, no matter what it is. And I do that just to keep track of signs. It's a good way to keep track of signs and what they are. Because if it worked out that the variable is over here, and these are all numbers, I can plug it in. And again, I put parentheses around it just to make sure we keep track of the sign. Because this is going to happen at some point. I hope it doesn't. If we have, say, x squared, and x is negative 1 like this here, someone's going to plug it into the calculator like this. What will the calculator tell me if I type it in exactly like that there? I hit a negative, I hit a 1, and then I hit a square. The calculator will tell me it's negative 1. What is negative 1 squared? What is negative 1 times negative 1? It's just 1. Because the negative times the negative is a positive, yes? If you don't put parentheses around it, you won't get the right answer. Because it sees that negative and that 1 as two different things. It's going to square 1 and then apply the negative. Well, that's not what we want because we're plugging it in for x squared, yes? It should be negative 1 times negative 1, yes? Without those parentheses, it won't see it. Okay? Adding more parentheses in a calculator will not hurt you at all. Okay? It will not do any damage. So if you start going parentheses crazy, going, well, I want to add these two together first and then these two here, and you were able to type it all into the calculator, excluding, we'll say y had an actual value, the calculator will not have any issue with that. If you start knowing you want these first and these first and putting parentheses around everything, it'll say, cool, that's fine. But you might be forgetting some at some point. In some of the upper level calculators, the TI-84 might do it, but I know the 89 and above, if you forget a parenthesis somewhere, it'll say, hey, you forgot a parenthesis right here. Have you ever typed in a calculator and seen Gatto pop up? This. It's an error code that'll come up sometime. It actually does not say Gatto. What does it say if you space the O and the T apart? It's asking, do you want to go to the error? You want to go to the spot where there should be something or something's not right. So if you hit enter, it will take your cursor exactly where it thinks an error has occurred. So you can fix it. Of all the years I've been messing with the calculator, I didn't realize that's what that said until the last like 2 or 3. So when we start messing with calculators, especially the TI-84s next week, if that pops up, you can hit that and it'll kind of tell you there should be something here or something's not right here. Okay? Now let's simplify this here. Well, 3 times negative 1 is plus 2y. Negative and negative makes a positive 4. What is negative 3 plus 4? Then what do? Minus 1 from both sides. 2y is equal to 6. Yes, it does. But any questions on this here? Are we starting to get the hang of this? Yes? So this thing probably looked scary the first time we went over it yesterday. But are we starting to see it's not as bad as what you thought it might be? Or especially when I said solving for 3 variables and you first saw the first 3 equations? Not as bad? What is this? It's lots of little steps, a lot of little easy steps, yes? From one to the next to the next. And it's memorizing those steps. Because if we try to get any of these steps out of order, it's going to make these problems 10 times harder. Because I think we've got 1, 2, 2 more. Let's look at this one here. Let's do one more together, and then I'm going to let you start on the assignment so that if you have questions, you can ask them. Okay? Looking at this here, let me see here, between these, yep. These here. Well, it doesn't matter what we pick, does it? Because the top equation has x, y, and z by themselves. We don't have a number in front of them. So which one do we want to eliminate first, x, y, or z? Let's do y. So I'm going to use this equation as our eliminator equation. So 4x plus 4y minus 4z equals -2. And we have 3x plus 2y plus z equals 0. Now, what are we going to have to multiply our eliminator equation by to get these y's to be the same? We got to multiply by 4, yes? So we're going to multiply 4 by x plus y minus z and -1 also by 4. Well, 4 times x is, I'm going to try that again, 4x, then we have plus 4y minus 4z equals -4. And then I'm going to move that on up there. Any questions on this here so far? We good with this here? Now we need this one to, the y values to be the same. So we won't use 4, we're going to use what? 2. Since this y value has 2, this one has 1, we need to multiply it by 2. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times y is 2y, and 2 times z is -2z. -1 times 2 is -2. Since the values of y are the same, we're going to subtract. When the signs are the same of what we want to eliminate, we subtract. When they're opposite, we add. 4x minus 4x is? We're done. Get her done. And again, I'm not making y'all absolutely do these by hand, but I would like it if you knew how to do at least one of these or how the process and actually can solve one of these by hand. Because on the test, one of these, solving it by hand will be a bonus. The only way you get credit for doing it is if you solve it by hand. Okay? Because we will go over other ways to solve these that might be easier. Remember Desmos, the graphing calculator? You can graph these and find the point or line that matches up. You should be able to do three-dimensional graphing in there, but there are different ways to solve it. So the homework assignment is, I believe, 4 problems. 5? I think I might have added one. So 5 problems. Doing these here. So go on and get started on that.